Imagine this: you're one of the fastest men in the NRL, a genuine game changer who can turn defense into attack in a heartbeat. The season is heating up, finals are on the horizon, your team needs you more than ever, and then, snap, in one brutal moment, your entire season is over. That's exactly what has just happened to the Canberra Raiders in a savage blow that could change their season completely. Transition into main narrative. Welcome back to Aussie NRL Updates, your home for breaking news, analysis, and the stories shaking up rugby league. And today, well, buckle up, because we're diving deep into the Raiders' latest nightmare out of the NRL Casualty Ward, the devastating season-ending injury to their Speedster, and what it really means for the Green Machine moving forward. The moment it happened. It was supposed to be just another night of hard, gritty football. The Raiders were in the middle of a season-defining clash. Their Speedster, one of their most dangerous attacking weapons, looked primed to turn the tide. He'd already shown flashes of brilliance throughout the season. Then, in a cruel twist, it all came crashing down. The incident looked innocuous at first. A step, a burst of acceleration, and then, disaster. You could see it instantly. The grimace on his face, the way teammates rushed over, the hush that fell over the crowd. Within moments, the medical team signaled what no fan wanted to hear: season over. And just like that, the Raiders' finals hopes became a whole lot harder. Why this loss hurts so much? Losing a player is always tough. But losing this player? It's like ripping the heart out of Canberra's backline. His speed isn't just about scoring tries, it's about stretching defensive lines, creating opportunities for those inside him, and forcing opposition halves into mistakes they wouldn't normally make. Let's put it into perspective: the Raiders have already been walking a tightrope. Their forward pack has been solid, their defense has held on by grit, but in attack, they've relied heavily on moments of brilliance. And in rugby league, brilliance often comes from speed. You take that away, and suddenly the team looks one-dimensional. The timing could not be worse. The Raiders are in the thick of the finals race, with the table so tight that one win or one loss can completely flip the standings. Losing a strike weapon like this is not just unfortunate, it's catastrophic. A pattern of bad luck? Now here's where things get interesting. This isn't the first time the Raiders have had their season thrown into chaos by injury. Think back to recent years: key playmakers, outside backs, and even leaders in the forward pack have been sidelined at crucial moments. Is it just bad luck? Or is there something deeper at play, something about Canberra's style of footy, the demands on their speed men, or even their training load? Fans are starting to whisper about whether the Green Machine is cursed when it comes to keeping their best weapons on the field. It almost feels like every time they start to build momentum, the NRL gods decide to strike. And this time, they've struck hard. Let's pause here and consider the human side of this. For us as fans, it's about finals hopes, ladder positions, and rivalries. But for the player? It's about blood, sweat, and years of sacrifice. A whole season, gone in a split second. Imagine the hours of training, the rehab, the mental grind, the endless sacrifices, only to be forced onto the sidelines, helpless, while your teammates battle on without you. This is the kind of setback that can break players. Or, it can forge them into something even greater when they return. Which way will this story go? Only time will tell. But right now, the heartbreak is raw. So what does this mean tactically? Here's the big one: Canberra's structure has revolved around having that speed on the edge. Without it, Ricky Stuart has to reshuffle the deck. Do they bring in a young gun from NSW Cup? Do they shift an experienced utility into the backline? Or do they completely change their game plan and double down on power through the middle? None of these options are ideal, but one thing is clear: the Raiders cannot just replace what they've lost. Speed is unique. And in finals footy, it's often the difference between winning and losing those tight contests. So fans are left asking, can the Raiders adapt, or is this the blow that finally derails their campaign? And here's where it gets fascinating. This story isn't just about one player's injury, it's about the entire destiny of a club. Canberra has been fighting tooth and nail to prove they belong in the finals mix. Without their speedster, they'll need a hero to step up. But who will it be? A veteran with finals experience? A youngster looking to seize their moment? Or will this be the moment the Raiders' season unravels completely? Stick around, because in the second half of this breakdown, we'll dive into exactly how the Raiders can salvage their season, the players who need to rise, and whether this savage blow could spark an unlikely fairy tale. Before we jump into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button here at Aussie NRL Updates, because when breaking stories like this hit, you don't want to miss a second of the action. Rehook into part 2. So the Raiders have lost their speedster, their season is hanging by a thread, but could this actually be the spark that ignites something special? Let's dig deeper. The next man up's mentality. In rugby league, there's a brutal truth: the game doesn't wait for anyone. When one player goes down, another has to step in. And sometimes, that's when legends are made. Think back through NRL history, how many players have burst onto the scene because of an injury crisis? Could this be that moment for a young Raider waiting in the wings? Ricky Stuart is known for giving players their shot when adversity hits. And make no mistake, this is adversity at its peak. Veterans under pressure. But it's not just about the rookies. This is the moment where Canberra's leaders need to step up. Jack Wighton, Elliot Whitehead, Joseph Tapine, they've been through the wars. Now, more than ever, they'll need to shoulder the burden, steady the ship, and inspire belief. Fans are already debating, will the loss of speed force the Raiders to lean harder on their forwards? Or will it expose just how much they relied on that spark in the backline? The pressure is squarely on the veterans to answer that question. A finals campaign in jeopardy. Here's the reality check: without this player, the Raiders' finals campaign is on the edge of collapse. Look at their remaining draw. Look at the ladder congestion. Every game matters. One slip-up could be the difference between finishing top 6 or missing the 8 entirely. And let's be honest, teams like the Panthers, Broncos, and Storm aren't going to show mercy. They'll smell weakness. They'll target the Raiders' reshuffled backline. They'll look to expose inexperience, and they'll hammer away until it cracks. The question is, can Canberra survive the onslaught? The psychology of resilience. But here's the wild card. Sometimes, when a team loses a star, the rest of the squad digs deeper than anyone expects. It becomes about proving everyone wrong. It becomes about resilience, grit, and the power of belief. This could be Canberra's backs against the wall moment. And history shows, under Ricky Stuart, the Raiders have a way of thriving in chaos. They've pulled off unlikely runs before. Could this be another? Fans react, the Green Army speaks. Now, you can't talk about the Raiders without talking about their fans, the Green Machine faithful. Social media has exploded since the news broke. Some are devastated, some are furious at the bad luck, and some are clinging to hope that the team can rally. One fan summed it up perfectly: we've been here before. We've lost stars. But we're Raiders, we never die wondering. That sums it up, doesn't it? The connection between club and fan base will be critical over the next few weeks. That support might just be the fuel the players need to push through. This injury doesn't just affect Canberra, it shifts. Whisper about whether the Green Machine is cursed when it comes to keeping their best weapons on the field. It almost feels like every time they start to build momentum, the NRL gods decide to strike. And this time,